Hello everyone, this presentation is meant to give everybody an idea of what the next steps are for the persuasive essay. So far I have received all of your, for the most part, most students, I've received your persuasive essay outlines. So now it's what to do with that and what my feedback is, because I'm not completely satisfied that you guys are ready for the first draft. There were a lot of issues with this outline that was turned in. This graphic organizer gives you sort of a general outline of all the parts that should be contained in your essay. Okay, so first of all, you need to have your introduction. And what does that mean? Just like every introduction we've had so far, it needs to be a hook, followed by background information, and then your claim. Now, in the instance of the persuasive essay, your claim is a statement that starts something like this: I believe, and then you give what your issue is, and then the word because, and after because, it's going to have your three evidence. What are the three evidence that back up your opinion or what you believe? And we're going to come back to that, because that claim and opinion statement has to become a formal thesis, and there are three steps to that. Then right after that paragraph, you need to have your body paragraphs. And the first body paragraph is going to support your first evidence, and then second body paragraph will support the second evidence, and then the third one will do the same thing. Okay, so you see that? Introduction, and then followed by three paragraphs. So we are at paragraph 4. Now what do you do with paragraph 5? Paragraph 5, or the last paragraph before your conclusion, is going to be a counter argument and a rebuttal. And this is something that we all practiced in our debates. So you should have some familiarity with how to do that. I actually have a slide that's going to give you some wording that you can use to word your counter argument and your rebuttal. That's paragraph 5. After paragraph 5 is your conclusion, and it's the same thing. You're going to restate your thesis statement in a different way. You're going to summarize your main points, and then there's going to be a broader impact statement. So I hope you don't forget all the components. These are all the components for your persuasive essay. Okay, and remember, Mrs. Mahuka repeats herself over and over and over again, so that there's no excuse for people saying, I don't understand. So now we're going to take all of that we had in that little graphic chart, and we are going to break each thing down. Okay, so introduction paragraph. This is the very first paragraph underneath your title. There must be a hook. And remember, the hook is interesting, startling data about your topic. Okay? Now, if it's data that you took from somewhere you cannot plagiarize, make sure to cite that if you're using that kind of a hook, which is the hook I expect you to use. Then your background information. This can be 2 to 3 sentences about your topic. And then finally, you will finish with the thesis statement. Okay? And because this is the persuasive essay, it's not just a topic thesis statement. This has some very clear parts that have to be adhered to. Okay? Okay, there are steps to writing your claim or your opinion statement, and how to formalize it into an actual formal argumentative thesis statement. So the easiest way I can do this for you is you are going to write a statement to say, I believe in this. And this will be whatever your issue is. And then after that, you are going to say, because of, and then evidence 1, evidence 2, and evidence 3. So if you can take all of the information you did in your outline, and if you can word it this way, this is step number 1. Now, how do we take that opinion statement and how do we formalize it? How do we create a formal statement from that opinion? Okay. There are a number of steps. If you look at that at the bottom where it says it's the argument plus the resolution plus the evidence. Those are all the 3 components of a thesis statement for a persuasive, or in our case, argumentative paper. So step 1, you are going to take out the I believe, and you are going to make it an actual argument statement. After that, you are going to add a resolution, and then finally the evidence. Okay, so you're going to take that I believe statement and we're going to formalize it by these 3 steps. You're going to have an argument, a resolution, and then the evidence goes after the resolution. We are going to practice 2 times, and then I'm going to have you practice on your own and then use this information to change your claim or whatever you have in your outlines and make it a formal thesis statement. So I took 2 samples from the papers you actually handed in, and let's start with one of the samples. So in the paper that was handed in, the topic was cell phone use in educational settings. Okay, so according to the student, for example, if you look there where it says claim, this was the opinion. I believe that cell phones can be educational tools because, and then we have the 3 evidence. Evidence number 1, because cell phones can be used to access online dictionary or thesaurus, as I am annotating or reading. Okay, what is evidence number 2? Cell phones can be educational tools because I can download apps that I can then use to complete my schoolwork. And number 3, it can be used to access schoolwork if there are no laptops or no iPhones around. Okay, so there you have the I believe statement, and then you have the 3 evidence. So what do we have to do, guys? Do you remember? We turn the I believe into an argument, we add a resolution, and then we add the 3 evidence. So how do we do that? Let's shift the opinion to a formal thesis. So if you look down there in the second set of information, you take out the I believe statement and you actually make it something arguable. So now I'm going to say cell phones should be educational tools. That's my argument. That's the issue, and that's my argument about the issue. Okay, now you're going to add a resolution. So a resolution is, so how do I fix this? This is the problem. How do I fix it? Okay, the resolution is cell phones can improve student learning. Okay, and I still have my evidence there, and those are the 3 statements from the top, because A, B, and C. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So again, you take your I believe statement, you turn it into an argument. You add the resolution, and that's the resolution from the top. How can I fix the problem? And then you end with your evidence. Okay? So if we look at the final thesis statement, it's combining those 3 things together. Cell phones should be used as educational tools as they improve student learning, because they can be used to access an online dictionary or thesaurus. They can be used to download apps. They can be used to complete schoolwork or to do schoolwork if there are no laptops or iPhones available. So I hope you see how we took the I believe statement, added a resolution, kept the evidence that was there, and turned it into a final thesis statement. Let's practice one more time. This was another topic from one of the papers, and this paper, the topic or the issue being discussed was the fact that there is not enough female representation in the music industry. So that means not enough female representation in all the different kinds of roles in the industry. So the data that could support that is one piece of data: less than 5% females are producers. The second piece of data, less than 30% are actual artists. And then the third piece of data, less than 15% of females are songwriters in the industry. So that's the data that supports the issue or the problem. Okay? Now, what kind of a resolution statement can we make for that? We can say the issue should be addressed by the industry, by the music industry, to improve roles for women. Okay, so there we have it. We have the I believe statement, we have the evidence, and we have the resolution. So we have to shift it to a formal thesis. Remember, the first thing we do is we take away I believe and we turn it into an argumentative statement. There are not enough females in the music industry. Okay, so that's taking it out and making an argumentative statement. We've added the resolution as the second point. And then thirdly, now we take the evidence and we put the evidence last. How does that become the final thesis statement? we can turn it into something like this. The low numbers of females in the music industry is an issue that should be addressed to improve roles for women. Why? Because less than 5% are producers, less than 30% are artists, and less than 15% are songwriters. Okay? So we have practiced this 2 times, how to take the issue, how to create an I believe statement with your 3 evidence, and then how to take that and make a formal thesis statement. Now for the next 2 slides, you are going to practice that on your own. Okay? Right here, I want you to pause the video and I want you to look at these 2 I believe statements, and just the way that I modeled for you with the 2 examples, I want you to take these 2 I believe statements, and again, these are drawn from your papers, and I want you to make your own formal thesis statements. Okay, this is your own practice, and just go through the steps that I went through in the previous 2 slides. Okay, paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are going to make up the major part of the body of your paper, and I'm pretty straightforward with these 3 paragraphs, because basically each of the evidence from your thesis statement, you are going to provide explanations in these 3 body paragraphs. So you're going to put down what the data is, and then you're going to discuss the data. Okay, so this is for each of your 3 evidence. This brings us to paragraph number 5. Remember, paragraph 5 is going to be your counter and rebuttal. And again, I want you to think about when we went up and did counter and rebuttal in our practice debates. Okay, so this is the same thing, only now it's written into your paper, this whole process. Okay, so here's some wording. People who disagree may claim that, and then you fill that up with something that somebody disagrees with about your issue. Okay, so first you acknowledge the counter. So you will acknowledge that, and then you are going to rebut. You are going to say that whatever they're saying, this argument is weak because, and then you bring it back to everything that is the main point of your whole argument. Or you can say something like, on the contrary to this counter argument, and then provide an explanation. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, and I will be providing you with a worksheet that gives you some actual sentence stems on how to start your counter claim and how to start your rebuttal statement. Don't forget the 3 most important components in your conclusion. You should restate your claim or your thesis statement right in the beginning. After that, summarize your evidence that you just produced or showed in your argument essay. And then your last sentence should be a closing statement that leaves the reader something to think about. It can be a question, or it can be something that they need to do. What are the next steps now that you have brought this up? What should we be doing? What's the broader significance or impact?